So hello and welcome. We're going to take a look at Google Drive just to get you used to how Google Drive is organized and how you might be able to organize it a little better to fit your needs. So when you want to access Google Drive, if you go to any Google page, and as long as you're logged in, you can go to your Apps tab up here and then just pull down to Drive. And Drive is organized by folders, and so you can see that I have lots and lots of folders in my Google Drive. I also have some stuff down here that I've created and forgot to put in folders, so I could go back and do that certainly. But just to give you an overview of how things work in Drive, really easy. So right-clicking gives you a menu that allows you to create new folders, to upload files, to upload folders, and gives you access to all of the different Google apps that you might need. Now, if you look over here under the New button, you're going to see that same menu. Okay, so whether you go to New up here because you're creating something new, or you want to right-click on the screen and do something here, either way works fine. Also note that when you go to upload files, you can mass upload files all at one time. So if you're a teacher that's been using Google or Microsoft Office for a long time, and you want to take all those documents and pull them into Google and be able to use them as Google Docs, you can mass upload the hundreds at the same time. Okay, so very, very simple to work with. The other thing I want to show you is that when you're in here and you want to start to organize stuff more, say I want to take all of these Amazon receipts and move them to a folder. I can shift click to get a selection of sheets all at the same time, and then I can actually click and drag them into a folder from there. Okay, so the other thing I can do here is right click on all of the ones that I've selected, and I can ask to move to, and then I can either choose my folder from here or I can go into new folder. Notice that if I do it this way where I'm moving to, I can also do subfolders, okay? So you can have folders within folders as well. But if you're going to do that, you probably are better off using the move function than clicking and dragging, because if you click and drag into one folder and then you need to go into a subfolder, you're going to have to highlight them all again within that folder to move them to the subfolder and so on. So it's a little bit easier to use that move function. If I need to create a new folder and move, the new folder function's right here. Okay, so again, very, very simple to utilize. When I lose something in Google Docs, which happens to me frequently, because when we use Google, we know we don't have to name things, right? Or we can start something and it saves for us, and so we get used to having untitled documents because we're not saving them. So whenever I need to find something, I often use the recent function, and it will show me by today and then earlier in the week and then last week and so on and so forth where my stuff is. So anything that I pulled up recently, that's probably the best way to find it. You also have a starred section. So if you feel like there's some good information that you want to keep track of documents that are important, you can star them and put them in here. Also notice in the star section that I have two folders that are colored. So if you want to give a folder a color, you can right click on it and go down to change color, and you can add a little bit of color. So maybe everything in green is assessments. Or also note that when I right click on any folder, I can also share a folder from there. I can add them to stars. I can rename a folder. So lots of different options on what you do there. Okay. Also note that you can share whole folders with people. You can share individual documents with people. If you share a whole folder with people, they're going to have access to everything within it. So keep that in mind whenever you share. Also, depending on what kind of rights you give them, they might be able to move the folder. It doesn't mean that you can't get back to it. Just go to your trash can, and chances are you will find it there if it gets moved. But just, beware of what kinds of permissions you give people. Okay, so if I right click on this folder, for instance, and I go out to share, you'll see here that I can put in individuals. I can also then take action over here on what they can do. So if I just want them to be able to access stuff and see it, I want to pick view only. But then if I need them to be able to edit things, then I have to give them those rights, okay? You can also click up here to get the shareable link if you're just emailing them a link rather than just adding them through their Google account. The benefit here is some people don't have Google accounts, or maybe you have their email address, but their email address is not a Google account. Therefore, you probably want to send them the link instead. Okay, so it just depends which where you're working from. You can also see over here that there are some other tools that live in Drive. I have the shared with me folder over here on the left. So anything that was shared with me from somebody else is going to live in here. So that's really easy access to find that stuff. You can kind of see where your storage lies right here. If you're in a school district, you should have unlimited storage, so you shouldn't have to worry about that too much. And then up here in the corner, if I don't like the way it shows all of the documents in Drive, I could go to a list view instead, where it's just naming them. Okay, so that is totally up to you, however you like the look of it. You can also then up here in the corner, note that for Drive, you are able to use Drive offline. And a lot of people don't know that, okay? So very, very important. If you have students who are in sports and they tell you, well, they can't access the assignment because they're on the bus or whatever, tell them to set their account up to access things offline. So I do it on airplanes all the time. I do it anytime that I'm traveling. If you go into the settings tab up here and click on settings, you will see that I have two things clicked here. I have convert uploads clicked because that will allow things to get converted to Google Docs automatically upon me uploading it. And I also have the offline option clicked. So I can access all of my stuff offline on this device. Now, if you wanted to be able to access things on your phone offline, you would have to set it up on your phone that way as well. Okay, so it is per device as to whether or not you will have offline access. The other thing you have access to here in settings that's important is your notifications. If you do not want to get notifications about things via email, then go in there and turn that off. That can get extremely annoying if you're a busy user in Google Drive. So you will see that I have mine turned off because it can get very, very annoying. You also have access to your apps over here. So if you have any apps loaded and you want to go in here and disconnect them or whatever, you can do that within the settings tab as well. Okay, so that is a quick overview. Those are most of the things you would need to know about Google Drive and how it functions and being able to get in there and organize your stuff. I hope this was helpful.